Cause stand, gonna find a way to change the game. You tell me that I should stay, trust what you say and that it's all okay. But everything starts to feel like a con, and I'm the pawn, am I right or wrong?
Knock on, everybody. This week, we're going to continue on that awesome journey that I was having up with Red Willow Outfitters in Alberta. You know, after taking that awesome velvet muley, I decided to go into those Alberta river bottoms and chase a giant bull elk. Myself and my good friends and guides, Dusty Fillion and Jeremy Nault, had an amazing few days covering miles and miles of ground, and it all ended with a truly awesome Alberta bull. Before we move on to this new adventure, I want to just give you a quick recap of what you saw on the last episode when I got up close and personal with the giant muley on opening day. Can't ask for anything better. Early season velvet muleys, good buddies with me right here in camp. What more could you ask for? Well, one thing that I was going to ask for was a velvet whitetail. And the next night we set up a bail blind on an alfalfa field. And sure enough, with an afternoon shower, we saw an awesome buck already on the second night of the hunt. But as luck would have it, he didn't want any part of that afternoon shower. After the weather cleared, look what shows up at 10 yards outside the front of the bail blind. That's always what happens when you've already filled your tag.
Field Recon.
Today I want to talk with you about how to maximize your hunting out of a blind, because hunting out of blinds is getting incredibly popular, and I've been tremendously successful while hunting from my bail blinds. And several things that I do make a big difference in how successful I am. One is I always like to put my blinds either on a stack with other bales around it, if it's in a permanent position, or I'll go ahead and mount a bail blind on a movable trailer or a hay wagon. That way I can bring it into an area which I'm gonna hunt. I can leave it there. If I need to move it, depending on the wind, I can hook it up to a vehicle and move it easily. One thing that I really like to do when I'm hunting out of a blind, which you've seen out of several of my turkey hunts, as well as many of my deer hunts, is I like to always wear black when I'm inside of the blind so that they don't see you moving around. Utilize a black hat, a black mask or gloves, as well as face paint if you've got it, and even just a black hoodie. Being all black is really going to increase those chances. I also like to get the deer used to these wagons being hooked up to some type of vehicle, because during the late season, if the snow gets incredibly crunchy where it's almost impossible to walk into a location, I'll go ahead and hook it up to an ATV, one of my Yamahas, either my Grizzly or my Viking, and I'll just pull it into the area of my food plot where the wind is right. I'll shut my machine off, get in the blind, and I'm totally ready to hunt. And then when it comes time for me to get out, I'm able to get into that vehicle, start it up, and pull out without blowing all the deer out of my area. Those are several tips that are going to help your hunting out of a blind be much more successful. Well, as luck would have it, look who shows back up just before evening sets in. And all I've got to do is let them get a little bit closer to give me a shot. Check out what happens. You ready? All right, here we go. Don't bend down. Are you kidding me? Dude, I couldn't get the shot off. Nock On TV is brought to you by Hoyt. Get serious, get Hoyt. Under Armour, always lethal. Lancaster Archery Supply. Redneck Bail Blinds. Sherlock Hunting Sights. Nocturnal Lighted Knocks. Fuse Hunting Accessories. And Yamaha ATVs and side-by-sides, Real World Tough.
The brand new Hoyt Nitro. First hunt with it.
That's my biggest buck with a bow. Big time, buddy.
Smoking. That heart beating on it. We just broke the new Nitro in, baby. And son of a gun, we just come in here and cook this cornbread.
Gonna put another buck in the truck with my new Hoyt Nitro.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
The future of concealment technology has arrived. Ridge Reaper Camo. Under Armour has spent the last few years developing this pinnacle camouflage system because concealment is, and always will be, a necessity in the field. Able to work at a variety of ranges and in multiple environments, the pattern utilizes two key techniques. Coincidental disruption uses irregular shapes and angles to obscure the hunter's silhouette against a multitude of environments, giving prey little to no chance of identifying the hunter's shape or position. The second technique the pattern employs is a unique no-background color algorithm. By utilizing contextual color theory and a variety of gradation, the pattern creates a complex illusion of depth, as well as conforming to the wide range of tints, tones, and shades present in the field. These techniques create a one-of-a-kind pattern that changes the game in concealment technology. Go where you don't belong.
Dead center.
Throughout all the seasons of Nock On, you've continued to hear me talk about arrow weight and the arrow that I'm choosing, because this is one category that you have a lot of decisions on, and it has a huge impact on how your overall archery gear performs. Now, a lot of people are making the mistake of choosing speed over energy, and I really disagree with that. Even though these bows are shooting well over 300 feet per second right now, it's going to be more important that you choose an arrow that has great overall weight as well as a high FOC. FOC is front of center, and that is a calculation that takes the balance point of your arrow as well as the overall length of your arrow, and it puts it into a formula that tells you what the percentage is for your front of center. I really like to have an arrow that is between 12 and 16% FOC. I learned out on the target range, and especially at the longer distances, just how critical that higher FOC is. It allows the front of the arrow to lead the back of the arrow. It helps you with wind drift. It helps you in maintaining straight arrow flight. And it's also great for controlling a broadhead. So these are 3 different arrow shafts that I've chosen over the past several years, and each of them have a slightly different characteristic, but they served a purpose for the type of hunting that I was going on. Now this first arrow here, this was a Easton injection. It's a very small micro diameter carbon shaft, but I shot a stainless steel hit deep 6 insert, and I would shoot 125 grains on the front of this arrow. When I compared that with a smaller fletch on the back, I had a high FOC. The overall weight was great, and this was a tremendous penetrating arrow. The other arrow I've shot in the past was this Easton Hex. Now this is a lighter arrow, but for medium to small game, this was something that I really preferred because it gave me higher speeds. I knew that if I was in a spot and stalk situation or a situation on a smaller animal where I needed to have a slightly smaller pin gap, or I might not have been able to confirm my range like I'd want, I preferred to have a little bit more speed. But by choosing this particular arrow shaft, it had the option of picking a 75 grain brass insert. So I was still able to boost my overall weight up on this lighter shaft and dramatically increase my FOC. Now the arrow shaft that I'm shooting lately is an Easton Axis. It's got a 260 AAE Nock-On Elite vane, a nocturnal nock, and I'm shooting a brass hit insert in the front combined with a 100 grain broadhead. This arrow is 530 grains, and when shot out of my Hoyt Nitrum at the draw weight that I'm pulling, it's shooting right at 100.37 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. It's shooting right around the 290 feet per second mark. It's not shooting the 330 that the bow is capable of with a lighter arrow, but it's shooting this heavier arrow that's going to get me out of trouble anytime an expandable broadhead or a larger cut broadhead runs into any type of thick bone mass. So next time you pick your arrow, pick one that's smaller in diameter, which really helps with wind drift. Pick one that gives you the option for high FOC, and try to pick an arrow weight that's above that 400 total grain mark. Preferably try to get closer to the 5. And I think you're going to be a lot more happy with how accurate your bow is, both with broadheads, field points, and how it works in the field as a hunter. Expand your archery knowledge with Nock On Podcasts, the highest level of world-class archery information available on either iTunes or at knockon.podbean.com. One of the great things about Alberta is the abundance of tags that you have the option to get. Since we are dedicating our evenings to whitetails, I went ahead and got an elk tag and chased elk in some of the most beautiful Alberta river bottoms you could ever ask for. This bull had slipped up on us quiet, so we were kind of already busted. So we were in a desperate move to just do our best to try to chase this bull until I could get a shot. Closed captioning brought to you by Red Willow Outfitters, Alberta's premier hunting destination, offering quality hunts for over 20 years.
The Yamaha Viking, and introducing the all-new Viking 6. The hardest working, most off-road capable side-by-sides in America. Built for the hardest working people on earth. You.
The new Block Vault is the most technologically advanced archery target ever built. The four-sided shooting lets you shoot it close, long, precise, and real. Shoot field tips, broadheads, and expandables. Block Vault's high-density open-layered core and polyfusion design stops all high-speed bows and smaller diameter arrows with friction, not force. Block Vault. Get locked in.
After several days of chasing elk and covering about 30 miles of this beautiful country, I finally got a bull to respond to us one beautiful morning. We decided to let the light get a little bit brighter and then play the wind and try to slip down in these bottoms to get in on what sounded like an awesome bull. As we were doing our best to try to ease through some of the crunchiest country you could ever imagine, I would occasionally hear the bull, and finally I got my eyes on him down in the timber. I was within 40 yards of this bull, but finding a place to put my arrow seemed nearly impossible. But you can tell by the steam coming out of this bull's nose, he was really worked up. So I had to just do my best to keep his attention so I could find one lane to squeeze an arrow. Elk are big, tough animals, so a lot of times after you shoot, it's great to try to call at them just to try to get them to stop. And then it's all about being smart and just waiting them out before you try for your recovery.
So nervous, that was awesome. Got this bull really worked up. So worked up, he just let us slip right in on it. Oh, that was sweet. Had a small lane. Did you see that? Did you see it? That's sweet. Oh, I'm really nervous. Thanks, Dusty. Did you see a shot? Just barely get back. Just a shot a little bit back. I am back because I didn't want to scare you guys up. He let me get so close. I'm certain that's a good shot, though. The height was good. I thought you guys were going to walk right by him there. I never saw him. Is that long? Is that long blood? Hey, look at this. It's everywhere, dude. Everywhere. Unbelievable. Awesome bull. Best bull I've shot in Alberta. Look, quartering away shot. And look at the lung blood. Yeah, dude, check out my 6x6.
Well, everybody, here's my awesome bull from here in Alberta with a great friend, great family, and a great outfitter, Todd Lowen with Red Willow Outfitters. And I also have to give credit to two good friends that came over from BC, Dusty and Jeremy. They're like brothers to me. We've done just under 30 miles so far on my GPS, covering some amazing elk country, but we just weren't hearing anything talk back to us. But we got a great rain last night, a real cold morning, and I let out one bugle and he bugled back, and then I got him really worked up with a hyper hot call, and we could hear him down deep in the canyon. We needed to keep the wind in our favor, so we actually had to bail off the backside and come deep down into this canyon, and I was able to stop him, but I didn't have a clear shooting lane, so then I had to move forward about 15 more yards before I could actually get my shot. So I want to give credit right now to this brand new Under Armour Ridge Reaper camo. This is the Baron pattern, and I'm just going to tell you guys that it takes a lot for me to change brands or change anything really with my setup. I shoot stuff that I've used for the longest time, and it's because it works. But I'm here to tell you, this stuff is really working awesome. I I've just never been able to move up on a bull like that while he's looking at me. So I just don't think he had any idea what I was. Was able to make a great shot, and can't be any happier. I know that. We got some awesome meat for camp, and I've got an awesome trophy to take home with me. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned. Be sure to visit knockonarchery.com to see our entire line of Nock-On lifestyle clothing, as well as some awesome Nock-On gear and accessories that I personally take to the field myself. Enter promo code SHOWFAN and I'll include a free signed photo. Also remember that all U.S. orders over 100 get free shipping. knockonarchery.com. For over 30 years, Lancaster Archery Supply has practiced the values of integrity, caring, and excellence to archery customers. Discover the largest online selection of bows, arrows, and archery accessories at lancasterarchery.com. Call on our archery experts for expert advice on all your archery needs. If you want the best service and gear, then visit Lancaster Archery Supply, America's largest archery-only supplier.
Lancaster Archery Supply.
He's the buck you've been after all season. You see him in the middle of the field every day. The problem is a stand isn't an option. What's a hunter to do? Get a redneck bail blind, that's what you do. The ultimate in stealth and concealment. The redneck bail blind features a sturdy metal frame, a hand-sewn water-resistant cover, and silent slide windows, all in a spacious blind that wildlife adapt to instantly, putting you in the heart of the action. The redneck bail blind. Problem solved. Register online to win your very own at redneckblinds.com.
Nocturnal lighted Nocks feature a linear string-activated switch for simple, fail-proof performance. Hidden deep within the Nock, the switch will not turn on or off until you need it to. The completely sealed weatherproof battery keeps the super bright LEDs lit for over 20 hours to make sure you always find your arrow and your game. Nocturnal lighted Nocks, switch on accuracy.
Nock and ready to rock.
On this segment, I'm going to talk to all you archers out there who are a little bit more advanced and who are really seeking some precision in your setup, because I know that if you're like me, you really want a fine-tuned draw length, and this is the stage where we're going to adjust that. A lot of the target archers, and me being a target archer is my background, we know the difference between a 31-inch draw or a 31.25-inch draw, a 31.5-inch draw. So if we want to make those fine-tune adjustments, we need to check our bows at full draw. Now, if you have a bow that is absolutely exactly how you like it and the draw feels perfect, then what I would recommend is to take an old arrow, draw it back, and go ahead and mark that arrow exactly in the center of the burger buttonhole, because almost every manufacturer puts the burger buttonhole directly in line with the pivot point of the grip. So if you know this measurement, then you're always going to be able to get your bows to a very specific draw length. Now, one thing that you want to use as well, if you can, is either a draw board, which is great, or a shooting machine, because this really lets you check that. If you don't have either of those, simply draw your bow back and have someone else look at where that mark is and tell you if it's either short or long. So in order to make those fine-tune adjustments to my draw length, it's pretty easy. And with this particular bow, when I built it and we went through our earlier steps and I drew it back on my draw board, it actually drew just a little bit long. It drew 31.25. For me, I like a 31-inch draw, exactly. So what I did was I went ahead and added a few twists to my string, which when you add twists to a string, you're always going to slightly decrease your draw. If you want to slightly increase your draw, then you can add twists to your cables. One thing that I'm a firm believer in is always adding twists to either a string or a cable to make any type of adjustment, because if you remove twists, especially from a pre-made custom set, you're going to eventually start to loosen your servings as well, which will eventually have them start to separate. So if you want to fine-tune your draw length, it's great to know the distance between the burger buttonhole in the throat of your nock, use an old arrow to do it, or go ahead and invest in a draw board or some type of a shooting machine, and you can always get these set exactly where you need to be.